Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Valorant Challengers North America. It's a short break, so I'm assuming you're quite familiar with how this goes and everything else, but just in case you're just starting to tune in now, Sierra, Roy, and Gompers, and it's time for the next series of the day. Shopify Rebellion Black going up against Nonverbal. Now, these are two very different teams with very different stories. Of course, when you're looking at Shopify Rebellion Black here, Roy, well, this is, the stage one jam. So, this is a team that's come together we've seen so much from, whereas Nonverbal, in terms of this challenger scene, this is still a little bit of a learning for us, but they're not entirely new.
Yeah, I would say unfamiliar, but definitely not unknown, right? We've seen some of these players before in the first year, at least on the Nonverbal side, and at the end of last year. And then we saw them in the qualifiers as well. Of course, they're going up against Shopify Rebellion Black, the winners of stage one. I mean, that's honestly just tough. That's just a tough matchup. It's a hard matchup. But I would say that this is like the match where we kind of get a very good glimpse. Like, if you play the best teams in the league and you have good performances, then we kind of have an idea of what to expect from you, right? If you get blown out of the water, then, I mean, hey, you played the best team in the league. So it kind of gets justified.
That's the thing. You kind of got to come into this like, all right, we're playing against the champs from the series one. Let's just take this slow. Let's take this at a good pace. And it's nice because it's the group stage, right? Like you kind of get the idea of how this team plays, where your strengths lay and where their weaknesses are. So whether or not, I'm not going to count them out just yet. All right. Realistically, I'm going to say they have a chance, guys. They have a chance. But
always a chance.
Always a chance, always a chance. But it's definitely just a win-win scenario. You either take down the champs or you lose and you lost to the champs. It's fine. But talking about the champs, Shopify Rebellion Black. This was a team that going on into stage one, Roy, I mean, this was the team to look out for. There was a smidge of a different look back in the day.
Yep.
Brock instead of Monty, but Brock getting the call up, Monty slotting in later in the season. So it's a team that had to transform so late on into things. And honestly, things have clicked so well. This has been such a cool story to follow.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see with more time how this team's formed, because champs, like, where do you go from there?
Yeah, no, I actually love that we're starting this conversation with Monty, because ever since they added him, I mean, his impact just really cannot be denied. It has been an immaculate addition to this roster. They've gone undefeated since they've added Monty, and they've looked amazing since. Now, today is today going to be the day they lose that win streak? I don't know. But ultimately, when you look at this roster, you see BCJ, very vocal, strong mid-rounder, right? Very flexible player, can jump into any of the initiator roles, no problem. You have Pancakes, right? Really solid at lurker, really good sentinel player, and of course Spaz, the controller of this roster. He's that X factor and that supportive role that this team really needs. And I think overall this roster, it has a good balance of sort of this like set play, very team, very strategy heavy, but there's also enough room for individual expression, which makes this roster scary on all fronts.
What I love about this roster, too, is you have this experience, of course, with BCJ on these bigger stages, etc. But like across the board for a lot of these players, we have the experience, but maybe not at that necessarily top tier level, maybe being on rosters that weren't necessarily doing the best comps, and seeing how everyone come together and the potential and how that's all come to light. I mean, they did a great job picking the players for this roster for sure.
Dude, 100%, because BCJ is swag. Oh my God. I had to point it out. I was like, everyone here looks so swagger. And it's like the smiles on their faces, right? They're coming from such a tremendous victory. I mean, and they know they're the top dogs of the squad. So I think BCJ is kind of stating the dominance there in the photo. I've never, ever, I've wondered why no one has used props in their photos. And this is brilliant. Brilliant.
Brilliant. I love that. Great analysis.
Thanks, guys. I am here to bring only the best. I love you all. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Not quite the sunglasses, but the glasses. Let's talk about the man at the very end of the roster here and talk about Paint. Because coming into this season, Paint was someone that was on a couple of these not so great rosters in the past, thinking of rosters that maybe struggled here in Challengers, etc. He did get a call in to stand in for MIBR, which was really, really cool. But when you're looking at where he got to play, it's nowhere near as the same as this team. And this is someone that throughout the stage one, and specifically in playoffs, Roy, really got to fully find his footing and just MVP.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the MVP of Split 1. I mean, this player is not just by merit, but statistically, he's also just a monster. He plays every single duelist. He has, if not the best neon in the league. he's an absolute beast. He's able to op. He's able to play rifles. He's able to play within set execs and fast set plays. He's also able to play with, within the late rounds. There's just so many elements of paint, and sort of the vibes and the energy that he brings to this roster makes him definitely a super strong pickup for this roster.
Yeah, like you mentioned his Neon, right? Navigating the map with the Neon 100%. I believe in actually the grand finals, 22 first kills and 24 first stats. The first stats, you'd be like, whoa, that's a lot. When you're comparing the two, not really. The first stats means Paint is making way for the team. Paint is the one entering. Paint is the one making sure that no matter what, they're getting one and they're going down. 22 to 24 ratio is actually really freaking good for this player.
And that it's not just like this team on every single faucet. Like you have Paint to get through, you get through Paint. Well, then you have BCJ to get through, you get through BCJ, then you have Monty. Like it's just incredible. So to be able to have an MVP duelist like that combined with all these other top tier players, there's a reason that this team won the playoffs and is like the best team that we have here right now. So on the other side, Nonverbal, they definitely, have a tall task ahead of them. When we're talking about new teams for this stage, Nonverbal is one of these newer teams that we're getting for our 2025 Challenger season. But as we kind of talked about just a little bit before going into this, Roy, they're not completely unknown. We did get to see a little bit of them back in stage 3 for the core of this roster.
Yeah, a lot of these players are returning to VCL, specifically Tim, Blast, Corrupt. We've seen these players before in this league. They looked phenomenal back then. Of course, they haven't really had the greatest of runs, but I feel like their development since that time, the form that they showed in the close qualifiers, in the promo relegation tournament, it looked good. I liked what I saw from this roster. I think the other thing to keep in mind as well is this team is young, but they're not amateurs. They've been in the competitive circuit for a while, and honestly, my expectations for this team are pretty high.
I'm going to say they should be for sure, because this team, like you said, right, you pointed out the differences and all of these players, how well they play, but also, their performance going down to stage 1 wasn't actually terrible, right? It was just the knockdown from Shopify Gold that set them in a really difficult position. But, they do focus a lot of their energy on that preemptive utility usage, carve out a ton of space for their team. And I think that's what led them, to being put into such a good position, right? Winning every game, but then getting knocked down to the lower bracket and just not having a good time down there as well. So, and being pushed to relegation. So for me, I think this team has tons of potential to honestly outshine and maybe even prove some of us wrong in terms of the Shopify game. Maybe, they'll get more than what we think.
It was close for them to be able to qualify in that stage 1, but being able to make it the second cracker round, this team has the resiliency. So I'm excited to see how that pays off and looking at that in today's series. Again, a win-win. You win this and you get the biggest upset, or you lose it and oh no, you lost to the top team. That's fine. It's how this match goes. That's everything for me. But let's go to the map picks and bans for what this series has ahead. There's been a lot of surprises on the day, with things switching up just that little bit, but we're returning back, Roy, to 3 just classic maps, and it's going to be Nonverbal to kick us off on Pearl.
Yeah, I'm actually a little shocked to see this map pick coming out from Nonverbal. I think they must have been really working on this map. I did like the way they looked against SR Gold last time they played it. But ever since, they've had some solid wins against some other teams in tier 2 tournaments, and specifically the former, tier 3 Mickey Mouse tournaments. They've had some good results on that map. So I'm not shocked in that sense. But I think overall, what I'm shocked about is the form that Shopify Rebellion Black has looked on this map is quite fierce. They've looked very, very good on this map. Honestly, it's a very strong pick for the SR Black side. So I think overall, this first map is going to be a battle. But I think if you're picking this map into Shopify, you must have an idea of what to expect and how they're going to be playing it and sort of coming in with a game plan.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because, sorry, I'm not going to speak anymore, guys. I had no point.
No, Gomps, you will have a point, but in just half a second, because I am getting word that our agent select is ready. So we're cutting this map short so we can go ahead and send on over to that. But Gomps, I genuinely do care about what you have to say. So we're going to get some cool agents on the screen. We're getting closer to getting this started. We're going to send back to you, my love.
Thanks, guys. Hey, what's up, Shadi? No, I like this. They've been switching up the comp a couple times from Nonverbal in terms of Pearl. That's what I was going to say, guys. Surprise. And I like this. I think the addition of the Yoru is so cool, especially now that they're trying to really play into the role of of Pyro shining a little bit more, which the Yoru definitely, I'm not going to say troll. I think troll in a very successful way where it is kind of frustrating. If you're on point with the Yoru, especially like with the setup that we might be able to see through from the initiator, double initiator, and single controller play, I really think this might work well.
Yeah, I actually really love the clash of styles, but what's making me go, whoa, is really the fact that Paint has gotten off his best agent, off the Neon, onto the Waylay, an agent that we haven't really seen ran on this map so much. So I'm curious to see what they have in store for us.
I'm excited for this Waylay because I am not a Waylay believer as of yet. Like, don't get me wrong. In my ranked matches, Waylay crushes me. But in terms of challengers and what we've gotten to see, I think it's fallen a little flat for a couple of these teams and a couple of these compositions. So Paint, when we're looking at the MVP, is this going to be the Waylay believer arc? I think that'll be super exciting and all of that. But we do have a little tech issue, guys. So we run to the agents because we're so excited to get to agents, just for there to be a little tech issue on the player's end. So we'll quickly, while we're waiting for the players to get reconnected here, talk about our predictions. So we can just show you all that, yeah, we're cooking over here. We love some caster curses. Yeah, this again.
Why am I huge in comparison to everyone else?
You're so cute that
Aren't
you
you
need
like
to show
6'5"?
more of your face.
I'm actually 7 feet.
I've heard.
That's 2 feet taller than Roy.
Okay, whoa. Yo,
Wow.
first Dan, now me. That's crazy. That's actually crazy.
It's a prerequisite to be short to be a Valorant analyst, guys.
She's not
Case
even
you're
here to
curious.
defend herself, guys. No, but I mean, hey, we're missing out on the flavor, but I think Shopify has enough pepper and salt for everyone to go around. Like, this team is absolutely insane. It's shown. It's shown. And, you know, at the pace that they're going, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult to take their spot.
Look, on our defense, SRB is the winner, okay? They not only had a clean win. It was a really nice run. Undefeated, guys. They're quite literally undefeated since picking up Monsi. They've taken down M80 3 times. They've taken down a lot of good teams on their way here as well. Of course, Winthrop University, a clean win against that team with their coach, if I remember correctly, for that matchup. So I think ultimately there's a reason why we've chosen SRB. Does that mean there's no hope for the other side? I think there is. There's always a chance, guys. Always at least a tiny little chance.
There's always a chance, but yeah, I mean, I just look at this matchup and I think that there's very few teams that Shopify Rebellion Black would go up against where I would bet on the other team when you are talking about the playoff champions and a team that's only just scaled more and more and more. So it's, you know, it'd be like that. But I think definitely going back to talking about the series and nonverbal, I definitely think that there is this opportunity in today's series because they are more of this unknown quality for challengers. You know, we get to see teams that all the time just kind of come up. They have the experience, obviously, together, but I mean, or Shopify Rebellion Black looking back at the VODs in these third-party tournaments, or like, what are they kind of prepping against? So I think that nonverbal, especially when you're looking at getting this new map pool, there's Waylay, though they don't play the Waylay. It's Paint that's playing the Waylay. Like, Roy, I think there could be some surprise here. It could be fun.
Yeah, I think it could be pretty fun as well. I think ultimately Shopify Rebellion Black is the team that even when they don't really make compositional changes, they definitely change the way they play the map, right? They change their setups, they change their approach, they change their pacing. And it's sort of that level of like proactivity and constantly being ahead of yourself in terms of like layering your strategy and moving forward that makes, you know, prepping against Shopify Rebellion Black really awkward. And especially with the downtime they've had since their last showing up until now, they've had ample time to sort of make changes, you know, kind of make additions and move some agents around, move Neon into Waylay. Like, surely knowing how strong Paint is on Neon and taking him off to Waylay, that he has to be really confident on the agent for that to happen, for that conversation to even go down. Like, you got to be at least somewhat confident in the Waylay. So I'm definitely looking to see what Paint's got on that agent.
Yeah, it's not only that, but like, you know, we give lots of credit, obviously rightfully so, to Paint, but I think BCJ is also another highlight of mine that I'd like to talk about, right? Playing into a huge part of, you know, the intelligence portion of strategy, right? With his initiator role, I think time and time again, oh, sorry guys, actually I'm banned.
That's banned.
But we see him like completely destroy on the initiator and on the initiator role, whether that be like aim-wise, right? The game portion, whether that be in terms of strategy, opening up space for the duelist. I think this is a player that definitely is a little more on the quiet side when needed, and is a bit more strategical in terms of how he can help the team.
100%. But we had commented before we went on this whole prediction tangent, etc., that we were resolving through a tech issue for one of our players. It's not just us yapping to yap, and so we don't get any more casters stop yapping, start the game. We're going to send to a quick break. So you guys can have a break from us, an opportunity to get a snack, and on the other end, it's going to be SRB going up against Nonverbal. It's time to start getting underway with the first map here of the second series of the day. Shopify Rebellion Black, of course, your stage 1 champions going up against a team. Got the promotion into the tour. Now to show us what they've got. It's time for Pearl, and we're going to send it right away over to our casters. Get ready, nerds, Jen, it's up to you. Have fun.
I'm going to have a blast, especially because SRB can get revenge for their sister team, Shopify Rebellion Gold, getting relegated out of Challengers because of this team. Here's the drama.
The drama. Okay, I was the #1 SRG, like, supporter. I was so, like, hyped on that, but reality is there. Nonverbal played really, really well, and now SRB is back here. The thing I'm really hyped about is not only that storyline, but also Paint on this Waylay, right? You have such a caliber of a player playing on the new agent. We're going to see a lot of Waylay. This is my first time seeing Waylay played on Pearl, and also Waylay this will be one of, like, the first times other than last game that we see Waylay in Challengers.
Yeah, a lot of people are playing it on Icebox or a Sim. Got a taste of it last series, and we're not going to get the taste of it this round. Paint the first to fall, and like I said before, kind of a good hybrid between Yoru and Jet, and one of the best duelists and challengers to show us how it's done. We'll see maybe in the following rounds, but currently we're in a 4 versus 4, 3 stacked on the site, and non-verbal hitting them from all angles, forcing Shopify Rebellion Black on a back foot on option B, which is literally to go B. But who to cut them off is none other than Blast, but a quick flake from Spaz, and the road is paved for SRB to go to this site. If it's not for Pyro trying to stand in their way, and he almost got a haircut, he'll get away with some HP left.
They regroup for the retake here. Very smart to do that before they go for this fight, because it's very winnable for non-verbal.
One suppressed.
There he is. Pretty much is. Now they'll have to play the distance battle. They got to clear this back corridor. They're coming in from the high ground. One less angle to check. And Shopify had BCJ with a flash too. As they're ready. Once they see non-verbal around the corner, there's the pop flash from BCJ. Capitalizes on Kumi with the frenzy. Now the spike is also getting delayed, but Corrupt just is going to front face this, and you even have the bolt to force BCJ. Oh, I thought it was a shock bolt. It's just the recon, and now you know exactly what side BCJ is going to pick, and it's the one that Corrupt takes an L on.
I mean, you can never discount SRB. They had so much stall utility left within their pockets. BCJ with the molly as well as that plant, and huge stuff out of them. But for non-verbal, it was winnable, right? They had a lot of potential with the double duelist in terms of just raw firepower. You never know what's going to happen on an eco. It's the premier playoff combo between these two teams. And honestly, it kind of shows in the recovery for SRB that why they were the #1 team, why they were those playoff champs.
I'll find you.
And to show us that they've done all the work on the off season to bring out this Waylay, I'm excited. Now they're on the anti-eco after taking the pistol, and they know they could easily overpower the site. They're a confident team and already starting to experiment. As a team like non-verbal, there's the double dashes from the Waylay, making its way to the back, and against the Neon, it's just gonna hit the rewind and get out of dodge. And SRB still tried to push past the smokes, got flashed, and were able to get back into cover, but still almost all their HP intact.
Such good use of the refract and all of the paint utility, all this Waylay util, because they just back out safely. They have a player down towards Art, so they don't need to commit here. And Paint could just play as this decoy and then get out when they need to. A site's going to be taken.
So Corrupt could be hearing something suspicious, all about the timing. You could be running into this Waylay too. What kind of disruption can Corrupt
30
cause?
seconds left.
It's gonna get the surprise on Paint, but Paint still is the better weapon. And pierces through the wall. SRB should be set up to get a safe plant going.
Spike planted.
They have their backs covered, and now all they have to do is set their sights forward.
This retake's going to be beyond arduous, though. Look at the setup.
Yeah, it's just gonna be about the firing squad and against the pistols. Non-verbal. Won't be able to say much more about this. Just hoping to go down with the spike at this point. They got the conga line back there, and SRB could chase this down if they want.
I like the conga line.
Yeah.
It makes it fun. It makes it funnier. BCJ is BCJ just going for the exploratory push down here? Yeah, BCJ is gonna be trying to find these players, but he just gets caught off, and now they go down. Second round picked up here for Shopify Rebellion Black, and I'm just loving the way that Paint is piloting this Waylay. Now, we talked a lot about Paint being a really solid Neon player, and a lot of Neon players get a rap of being that run it down, Neon, like have fun, zooming around, zoomer energy. But I think Paint is one of those Neons that's very cerebral in how they play in terms of piloting that agent really individually. And you can see that being carried over here on the Waylay in terms of their individual prowess. But the setup is here. We have non-verbal with full rifles. First time in this game, and I'm excited to see what they're going to bring out here.
Yeah, Blast has to really put down the suppressing fire, but getting maybe some initial information of just how much action could be going his way. I mad respect just dipping out of the sight and hoping that you can stack with Pyro. Nonverbal got the angles, the waylay double dashes into that back corridor, uses the rewind. And SRB is showing us the potential of this kit to get information, to get back into safe positions. Now, speaking of safe, the plant could be going down any second now. While Nonverbal wait for their chance to retake and already getting first blood. Shopify Rebellion now just gonna stack the front side, not worry about the flank, the firing squad in position, and now it's a scrap with Nonverbal not able to get this back corridor where this pesky KO is until Tim emerges. It's just pancakes in a 1 versus 2 and smoked off the spike. A drone to assess really how far this KJ is. The delays are now gone from the Sentinel, and pancakes just slow walking up. Corrupting Tim playing as best as they can, and now they're just sprayed out through the smoke. Pancakes to a 3, clutches it for SRB.
What? That's insane. Honestly, they played that so well for Nonverbal, just to give them a huge shout, because they tapped it, waited for the spray, got info, and wanted to push into the smoke together. But just the X factor of pancakes bringing in the punch and really make them eat bullets here. It was such a winnable situation, and just unfortunate for Nonverbal. Now forced down to an eco. Kumi gonna be buying up here with the Hero Guardian.
Now Nonverbal just stacking up the B site even more after how much SRB have been hitting it and just how easily that map control is gone. SRB have had a flawless run. Now with the buy up, it's gonna be even better, but also making sure that they give respect to Nonverbal, who could be doing these early round walk-ups, and they're going to be stacked together, especially on an eco. So like that, SRB are taking their time to scale up and not going in with too much of an ego.
Yeah, I respect it. And this mid crawl for them is also really good because it's going to give them a lot of info. We don't see a lot of aggression yet out of Nonverbal, so they know they're not going to go for an explosive eco play.
These Nonverbal are stacked together now.
Retrieving flash.
It's going to be all about timing. It's just how much delay SRB have now to the 40-second mark. Pancakes spotting the pivot from Nonverbal. SRB are just going to escape away from it. They have long B. They're cutting in from mid. There's only one spot a defender could be, and they know this Vice has been back here. And Blast again just plays for retake. All their job is to delay. The plant continues, and it's another post plant for SRB.
They just don't have the weaponry to do as much damage as they need to. It's Kumi, the only player with a rifle in hand.
Oh, wow. Find that through the smoke. Pretty impressive. Nonverbal are still going to try and challenge this and not go down with the spike. They got to put some damage into this economy, and there's Kumi stepping up. And this is a team that has rotated duelists a few times, and Kumi knows he has to prove himself on this team. Or at least show us why he's on the roster. And now it's 3 for the duelist, leaving Corrupt to get the halfway defuse. Could not complete it, not with Spaz still in the lobby.
Oh my God, the clutches for SRB, and it was so winnable in that moment for Nonverbal. They inched their way in. Kumi took down the first. It was there. It felt really similar to the previous pro we saw, where it's just like the oppressive nature of this attacking side of a polished roster, where it doesn't matter like if you go down into a 1vx scenario, that last player, that crucial focal point with the utility that Spaz has on that Astra could really work in your favor. And it's because of that utility, the stun, the concuss, they're little factors for Corrupt when calling in this moment of like, okay, I don't necessarily want to stick the defuse yet because of those pieces of utility.
Up on round 5 for Pyro. The dimensional drift 2. And SRB have been approaching these rounds quite slowly. Nice defaults. Oh, just the elbow almost caught there from paint. An offensive op too.
How low Pyro is and how much space SRB have down towards mid now.
Monty with these swings. And I mean, Roy pointed out, they've been on a win streak ever since this guy has been here. And I could only hype him up so much. Can't win them all, but we do have a 4 versus 4. SRB with mid control ready to wrap around the backside of A. But also just faking. There's just so much time in SRB to play the mind games to really weaken a site, and Corrupt is barely missing a timing on the cutoff, could still get a backstab. The trade available for Pancakes, but this person is escaping, and now was walked into the line of sight of Corrupt. So SRB just getting so greedy for these kills, and it's just not working out. Man, non-verbal really stayed stoic there at the end.
I think that's a perfect word for it as well, because they really they played it a lot slower and a lot more patient in terms of where SRB was going. So instead of reacting necessarily to SRB and trying to be proactive, they know SRB is such a polished team that they could just find these really good timings, be really cautious of the walk-ups, and take advantage of the fact that SRB is so polished by catching them off guard on a timing. Now, will that work consistently? I'm not sure. I have a feeling that for non-verbal, right, they have it's an eco round, so they're going to get this second regardless. It's just a matter of, can they carry that momentum forward?
So we are hoping to build up momentum here. Is the recon from Corrupt. Okay, yeah, there's a... Oh, wow, I don't like those shots. SRB are loving how this round is breaking down, though, especially on the eco. There's still an op to try and deny, and Pyro will... could just decide to save it, because this is going to be a tough round to overtake. All depends on what Blast and him can do to work together up close. Pyro takes his time with it. And now with his duo, they still have to take down almost the entirety of SRB on the post play. Pyro dashes or teleports away just in time. A sliver of HP, but now has to do it all on his own against the army of SRB, and now just decides to keep the op. So another SRB offense kicks in.
Oh, but Pancakes is there. Doesn't get caught off. That's kind of funny, because I'm setting it up. It's like, you know, statistics are there, right? You most likely win for non-verbal, and yet they just got decimated for a fast play. A lot of info gain. Pyro's just going to get traded out here, and they find the 5th, but it keeps the op out of non-verbal's hands, and now it puts a lot of pressure onto non-verbal, because that was a round that they should have won and converted, and because they didn't, this timeout makes perfect sense. Not only is it going to be, obviously, to reset some stuff, but they're going to talk about how, hey, we played that really slow, and we just got adapted on. Shopify Rebellion was like, okay, we could just go fast here. Now, Shopify Rebellion is probably not going to go for the same slow-paced crawl into mid or map control playstyle that they've been doing. And instead, they're probably going to go fast yet again or do some sort of outplay. They have a lot of set plays in their playbook. So when you're going up against such a seasoned roster, you really need to make sure that you are like cooking at the same level, not overcooking, but at a similar level.
This has got to still be worrying, though, for any non-verbal fans out there, that you just got thriftied on. This is your chance to kind of build up an economy for yourself and to try and close the deficit. But at least SRB, in the silver lining, a glass half full situation, they're proving to us that they're not going to have a slow start, which last split, they most of their losses were in the first couple of weeks of Swiss. And SRB, after that win, ever since they brought Monty on, haven't lost a match, haven't lost a beat. And they still have a pep in their step, and this is still a solid lead for SRB, especially after that thrifty.
Seems like a nice split control. Mid is the only thing that they aren't really controlling for SRB here. It's not like a full default, but they're just going to control lanes and trying to work the map for SRB, which I really like. They're waiting for this overaggression.
Wow.
Catch it.
They do catch the overaggression, and for SRB to leave mid-map completely open, they know that non-verbal have really prioritized the perimeter. So SRB are good at dictating, but also reading what the next move could be from non-verbal. And now because they've left that mid-map open, they're still gonna have to re-clear that. A could be the move.
A big setup towards A, though. You have Vice, you have Astra, the utility is there, as well as at Neon backing into the A site. So But SRB really good on the brawl. So when it comes to the fighting, they're a good shot.
Okay, you got the Hunter's Fury for the defense. SRB will knock on the door using the Nightfall. Some good pings from the defense. And now emerging, SRB hoping to play off that Nightfall. She kind of went in desynchronized and staggered in. They still managed to have the number advantage, but with this Cosmic Divide from Spaz, SRB have set up their half of the site to play off of, and a successful plan at that. While Nonverbal, it's not like they have a flash. They just have Kumi with an overdrive that they could send on the other side. But then the lockdown got activated, so now the seas will part, and Nonverbal will have even less time to work with.
It could be a save angle, but they decided to just push for it.
Very possible. They're just hoping to make contact with SRB, who are hiding away, and now Nonverbal have to just rush them, and it's successful for Corrupt. A 3 versus 3, and now Nonverbal just gonna exit, like you said. The time, the investment for SRB to delay it to this point. Cosmic Divide, Nightfall, Lockdown, a lot used from SRB, but this has built them such a solid economy and lead to get to this point.
And this is such an interesting, it's such an interesting round because it's going to be a little bit of a broken buy for Nonverbal, but it's still a very solid buy overall. You have Pyro as well as Tim with ultimates in hand. You have Kumi with that overdrive. So there's a lot that Nonverbal can work with to really try and capitalize it. So they're not out of the race just yet, but to bring up a side point that Nonverbal, some of these players, a lot of the community believes that they should have been here already, but in Challengers, I mean, right? They've been a roster that has been around, and this is their first showing. It's just unfortunate they're going up against the literal champions of the previous stage.
That's an unlucky schedule, but one that, you know, just kind of like our last series, Prosperity versus Winthrop. It's your chance to have an early showing, especially with the new map pool, the new agent. There's ways to surprise teams of maybe taking a more chill off season, but Payne is anything but chill. He's dashing and couldn't block down on that Neon, and that Corrupt, great assistance, and Kumi is there to back him up too. This is great synergy from Nonverbal in the mid map. And Pancakes is just gonna bark back at him though, so the round is not over, not until everyone from SRB is dead.
Ah, that Waylay ultimate just did not land. Conversion path for all those nerds out there like myself being used, and unfortunately that ultimate is just so good with other ultimates. It's on its own, it's a little difficult to route with, but look at who's alive for SRB. Their post plants could be super strong here.
Yeah.
Plant in this forward position from Pancakes could definitely get some picks. Nonverbal are gonna dimensional drift in a 4 versus 2 just to really secure this round. It's important to try and catch up, and as Pancakes escapes after the dimensional drift, Nonverbal are on the hunt, but it's BTJ with 3 that almost secures it before Kumi clutches up. That really came down to the wire, nerds.
Oh my gosh, a BCJ clutch there would be a vintage performance if I've ever seen one. But no, Nonverbal lock it down, a round that they needed. And honestly, they did a really good job on the retake, solid on the defuse. Just, again, it's those X factors, those like individual players like BCJ. I see why they have the props of the glasses, right? If you're as cool as BCJ, you just rock it and roll it. But I almost expected them to, like, I don't know, play further back because you had that Sentinel alive and allow BCJ to sort of take that forward aggression as the initiator, but it seems like the setup wasn't there for SRB, and now Nonverbal picking up an important round to bring them back into this game.
With a null command too from the attacking side, they can try and shut down a lot of, whether it's the Sentinel util or any ults, so SRB will take their time with the usual slow default and waiting for Nonverbal to get antsy and make contact first.
Just like the setup for the Waylay.
You just got discovered from your hiding spot, but wait, the flash from this Vice scared SRB off from finishing off the kill onto Blast. So just managed to get Blast back to safety, but for really how long when you got like 7 HP, so.
Yeah. But now they have numbers. Blast utility is still going to be so crucial to it. You have it set up towards Street. You have the Razor Vine still available to deny plant, and you are on the position to deny it towards A. So Blast is crucial to stay at least alive or get contact info on SRB.
Popping the ult too. There's the Steel Garden. Try to deny these weapons from SRB that are currently on the site, and Tim will get a stab on Pancakes. And the rest of SRB stuck on the site are just trying to deal with one problem at a time, which is these backside defenders. There's Corrupt, goes 1 for 1. And now SRB just don't have enough to protect themselves in this moment. So a really great Steel Garden from Nonverbal.
Yeah, I mean, you stay alive, there's Blast, you have a lot of utility, and that ultimate really becoming crucial in those moments. Speaking of ults, BCJ has been holding on to theirs, as well as Kumi and Tim. They have them, they're available, they're going to be really crucial, I would say, for Nonverbal specifically, especially considering that we lost this earlier. I liked the initial setup out of Paint to try and like take the timing, but I assumed that they were going to be using the light speed, the dash that Waylay has, but they just peeked it out slow, and that was their Achilles heel, is taking it too slow.
Playing for picks has worked out for Nonverbal that time. Now with back-to-back round wins, they're 2-1 post timeout. So whatever they talked about, just to calm themselves down, not be intimidated, any team is beatable. This time you'll have Pyro with the op, supported by his fellow duelist. And also the Sentinel here at the back. Nonverbal pretty stacked up. They gotta hit this shot, and now the Waylay to go crazy. And Paint does fall, but SRB is still not in a comfortable position. Not with Kumi still hanging around, and even a Wild Flash Kumi makes miracles happen. SRB are trying to protect themselves on the plant. Now time on their side, and Overdrive invested in painting a picture of SRB's L with Nonverbal continuing their win streak.
They're picking things back up. Solid retake protocols that we're seeing out of Nonverbal. Little heat up with the ultimate. I don't mind it, especially to lock in around against such a formidable team. Gives a lot of hype to Kumi, a lot of hype to this Nonverbal squad, who are looking to end the half 6-6, and they are really poised for it right now. The retakes have been cleaned up. They've just won 2 out of their most recent 3 rounds on retakes, as well as just having probably better comm structure, better calling of, all right, they're most likely going to play like this. But one kind of note to SRB in this entire chaos is the way that they used the Waylay Paint utility, as well as BCJ and Pancakes' utility, to find those kills and get some eliminations on the board for themselves.
Yeah, did Mozzie get caught reloading? Like, that was so... Definitely a chance to kill that Neon. And, a chance to kill Paint there, but... Goes by the wayside, and SRB have an opening in mid, forcing this op from Pyro to pay attention.
Bring them down.
But based on where this KJ is, definitely A is an option.
I was about to say, they're probably going to use the BCJ ultimate on entry. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to speed this up rather briskly. There it is. The Sentinel utility to deny.
Oh, that delay is going to hurt. And there's SRB are still committed because they have all their util. Throwing flashes, throwing knives, still in the back pocket too. SRB are walking into the line of fire of Nonverbal that were waiting for them the whole time. Now you got a Huntress Fury to suppress SRB even more. It's still not over yet. Equal numbers and just a slow walk up. Pyro doesn't hit the shot. And SRB have a chance to scrap back for this real estate. But this op is going to be a problem, and Pyro has to reposition. This is a window for SRB.
It's 20 seconds on the board, so if it's a window of opportunity, you need to capitalize on it. Now they've given away their position. BCJ has been known.
No util for SRB left. Just plant vibes, and now some time and an exchange that favors the defense yet again. Now Pyro has the support. Another rifler, and this op will be kept. And Nonverbal are really crushing this right now. They were down 1-4, and look, they're just right behind SRB.
The retake holds are really good. The comms and the calls to like rotate back have been on point for Nonverbal. And for a team named Nonverbal, I'm assuming they're getting very vocal in those chats, right? They are starting to feel really consistent. Now it's the final round of the half, and they're looking to close it up here. SRB, not that strong with their economy, right? Like, you have light shields and guardians. It's a bit fractured up. Whereas Nonverbal, because of this 4 rounds up, they have that consistency to really go toe-to-toe. So 6-6 half imminent, unless we can see SRB really claw their way through. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they could do it. They are that Stage 1 championship roster.
I think the post plant will be bolstered even more with a lockdown. SRB
Bring them down.
have options to deal with it. They only have 1 shock bolt and, of course, guns. But SRB still have to make their way to the site to have that post plant happen. And this is a different approach now, going towards spawn. Something we haven't seen from SRB yet.
A lot of control for SRB. And they're still playing it slow, but with all this mid control, you know Nonverbal has the call and the read. Like, that's the one area of the map that we have not explored, but this double swing.
Oh, just that wall. That's why SRB are wrapping around this backside for it to not be a factor. And Kumi and Payne have an exchange, and both will still remain. The last round of the half. SRB needing to get back on their high horse because they've definitely been humbled after being up 6-1. Now giving up a win streak as SRB, just dashing across the op. Definitely some cleaner shots coming out of Pyro, and needs to help sustain this B site. And the lockdown is being used, and this op has to get out just in time. Does, and Blast even catches the perimeter while SRB were heading towards B. This round is so cooked. Payne is still gonna try and get away with the plant. But with this conflict divide, Nonverbal are now getting hosed down by Pancake out of nowhere. Payne with 1 HP and a dream. And it's just him left. There's the Waylay ultimate. Extra stats to help, and that's all Payne needed to close it out for SRB.
And it was off the back, I want to say, of Pancakes as well. And what a rhythmic duo, right? Pancakes and Paint. Very much for the alliterations there, it seems, for SRB. And honestly, like I said, it was off the back of Pancakes really lurking up through, catching these two players. I think they caught Pyro off guard as well. They caught a lot of people up guard towards Heaven. Managed to reclaim that site rather briskly. We get a beautiful replay here of Pyro popping the first on BCJ. But like I stated at the beginning of the round here, if anyone can do it, if anyone can carry it over the line, it's the Stage 1 champions, none other than SRB. We also get to see Convergent Path, the Waylay ultimate, used to great effect for SRB in this moment to kind of secure that round even more than it already was.
Yeah, the speed boost and also hindering an enemy, which has been really cool, but it was cool that time. I feel like every other Waylay ult has been shut down very early, but hey, she did just come out. So Nonverbal on their pistol, they're attacking half, storing out the shock bolts, still have a recon, working off of information, but also sending Kumi on the hunt. Now past the smokes with the Yoru in position, and Pyro makes first contact, and the rest of Nonverbal are smoked off and can't really follow up.
At this point, they're just debating on whether to back. Blast does have some room towards mid, so the lurk potential's there, and they've just stayed towards B, so they are gonna try and hit towards this B site. No, they're not. Actually, they are backing out because there's 30 seconds on the board. That's the thing that's really scaring me, is they're gonna start speeding up this rotate.
What is Blast cooking too? Like, Blast is just going by the beat of his own drum, just lurking around. And if Nonverbal pivot, then Blast could catch them off or catch them off guard, rotating through mid.
Blast is just hanging out, having a blast towards the donut side of the map, like smack dab in the middle, which is really, it's huge for them though. It's huge because they have so much mid control now.
Hey, SRB were definitely still checking it. So you had the one go by and even the turret check. Blast just impacting the backline there. SRB still have to just go forward and not get caught into a pinch. They gotta make space, and SRB just get pinched from all angles. And Nonverbal with a successful pistol off of that lurk from Blast.
Really good play out of Blast there, working their way into mid. I was worried about the rotate and the timing, but they got it. The plant went down, and they managed to extend not only the timer, but the deficit has now been shrunk a little bit. Extended their round score, I guess. this is going to be a really good round for them. And Nonverbal, right? They're proving why, yeah, they might have come out of, Premier, but this is why this roster, specifically some of these players from previous rosters, deserve to be within VCL. These players have really been clawing their way back into it.
Nonverbal being able to claw back from that deficit is pretty impressive, and to take a pistol. Crazy. So what about the anti-eco though? You have Kumi watching over with the outlaw, but the smoke has been a problem, and Pyro is going to be with his team this time, but still gets caught early, but has created enough of distraction for the rest of Nonverbal to still benefit, and no one checked the high ground because SRB got smoked off, but they just pushed past it and kind of caught Nonverbal, but it was still the setup from the attack that got pulled off.
Stuff out of Nonverbal, converting. And now it's really the question of, did SRB do enough damage? And I'm going to say yes, considering we only have 3 really big boy weapons up here at 4. Never mind, they are buying up for it. I spoke too soon. I like that they are going for the big buy here out of Nonverbal to try and convert the third and really take this lead out of control. We've been seeing a lot on the VCL stage in terms of upsets and changes, and Nonverbal is looking to do that as well. Take this game and really run away with it.
Flash placed. Not ready yet.
Now Nonverbal back to a default with having Kumi trying to scrap against a long range area around B long. So Nonverbal just hoping to play off contact off of picks like before. They also have to be wary of the rifles held by SRB.
VCT is kind of baiting a little bit for paint as well to set up for this. There we go.
Eventually SRB get through that. One duelist down. SRB also made headway of throwing a haunt over at the A side to get the A orb. So there's map control. There's a level of certainty from SRB that they can just kind of stay put. But they also, SRB, love to leave this middle of the map open a lot. So don't seem too worried.
I like that they're taking a bit more seriously right now, having Pancakes kind of hold water and ensuring that they do not get kind of pinched upon. But A is empty. There is one inserted towards main.
Okay, Spaz have a big stop. 1 and 2 going for the triple. Tim shows he's the better Astra. But now there's a much more weakened offense that has 12 seconds. So time and numbers not in their favor. The rest of SRB around the corner. Not a ton of util, just the duelist, maybe a haunt, and not even needing to use any of that util. Oh, dashing across. Tim doesn't get the catch. Paint just refracted back. No kill there, and SRB will get the lead.
Again, just very good demonstration of the Waylay utility. Light speed on in, that's the dash. And like Lemon said, the refract to come back. Honestly, that's what I wanted to see out of Waylay. You're not really going in and being that first frag. You're generally using a lot of her utility to be that sort of distraction and info gathering. If you can find a pick or two, that's just a cherry on top of an already delicious sundae here. And we've seen very standard Valorant so far, and the deficits have been gapped. So now it's up to Nonverbal to bring out some of these newer ideas, maybe change things up a bit. You have a full buy up yet again, and you just see Nonverbal leaning towards this A site, trying to work for a split.
At least Nonverbal are droning up through B2 and making it look like Kumi could be around and being set up by Yasova, but Nonverbal are actually scaling up through A, like you said, keeping that mid lurk going with their buys from Blast. And now SRB have to try and keep this back, and that's why their Astra Spaz in position it, and also one away from the Cosmic Divide.
Seeing what this KJ is doing, really good control of mid, even without having presence there.
Hey, the Cosmic Divide on the offense to just give them a sliver of the site to plant on, but all the space in the world for SRB to feel safe on their side. Now up close to the corner is Pyro, just playing against SRB to emerge. The plan will still go through.
Spike planted.
SRB just haven't had a chance. They had all the space. Now the numbers are equal. This feels so awkward for some reason. With Corrupt hearing that reload, hearing SRB on the other side. Feels like he has to make a big play. Also playing time. Now the smoke is gone. Corrupt is out in the open, and SRB are all over the site and somehow have not spotted Corrupt. They have not spotted Corrupt. How did he get away with that? SRB, though, used their eyes this time. It's a 1v1 for Paint. Can he use his gun? He's going to try and get the defuse halfway. Knows he's running out of time. Pyro with flashes. Bought enough time and got the kill. Ooh, that round was close.
Ooh. And there it is, the tied up scoreline here. I love the way that Nonverbal played that. Really good utility and honestly good call for Pyro to rotate on an off angle playing down towards Art. They did have, I think Pancakes was aware of it, right? They set up some utility, but once Pancakes is down and you're stuck like this, it becomes rather difficult. Not to mention the fact that Corrupt just playing on that site, not once cleared. That's a, I didn't even, the knife in hand makes me question if Pate ran out of bullets in that moment, was just unlucky, or if they just swapped to the wrong weapon in the chaotic moment.
That's just a tough round for SRB to lose. And now they're on an eco. And the lead, I can tell, is going to go back and forth in the long game. It's going to be about the economy of who can cross the finish line for map 1. And a lead that has gone away. Such a strong start for SRB, and ever since that timeout, Nonverbal have been here to play. They're also here on the site, coming in through a different angle, trying to avoid anything from the SRB side. And they've already struck through Spaz. Now SRB has to just go in at the same time and use the flashes from BCJ. Do something to weaken Nonverbal. But this is now an even more commanding of a round from Nonverbal.
More commanding of an economic lead. The ultimates are starting to build and pile up. They have 2 of them in comparison to SRB, who doesn't have any just yet. BCJ is close to theirs. The round score is so narrow between them, right? You'd think, oh, you know, it's been such a back and forth half. No, it hasn't. SRB has lost 4 and picked up only 1 on the half. So this timeout is coming in perfect timing here. Vapin gonna be ready for it. And a little sidebar on Vapin, huge shout out to them from the Nerd Street days. I remember seeing them at LAN, really grinding it out, being a coach up there in person. So the fact that they're up here for Shopify Rebellion Black is heartwarming to see, but it's going to give a lot of hype, I would say, for Nonverbal, because they're like, wow, we forced SRB to time out. We are leading against them here, and it should be. They are a very solid team playing really well right now. And more than just that, they have the, what's it called, the proof to back it up. I have a feeling that, you know, this timeout's going to be really good for SRB regardless of how Nonverbal is feeling, but it's going to be a matter of time before Nonverbal adapt, and we will have a very tight game on our hands here, Lemon.
Yeah, because SRB are giving them a lot of space on the site, playing for retakes, but Nonverbal are being so productive with it. To be in the middle of A and to have all your angles covered when the defense have flashes, they have all this util, and for Nonverbal to support each other in these hectic moments says a lot about their communication and how they should definitely be a respected team, especially coming out of relegation. And SRB will have a lot of work ahead of them to try and avenge their sister team of Shopify Rebellion Gold.
Payback. But the Virtue is not as strong here. It's a very similar setup, but this time a little bit more proactivity on that mid control. We're seeing the Fade and Sentinel setups here alongside BCJ down towards Street.
A lot of aggression, a lot of noise from Nonverbal, and now you're ready to activate Kumi. And the overdrive, the 1, the 2, the firing squad is dismantled. SRB really neutralizes. The op is on its way. Paint will be here. You have at least BCJ. 1 flash out won't prevent the plant and tries to set up Pancakes for success, who isn't able to do as much. Now BCJ and Paint can play together off of different angles, and Paint gonna swap off the op. A better chance to scrap through the Steel Garden for Blast to try and take away some of this weaponry to weaken SRB. The numbers are equal, but time very much on Nonverbal side, hoping to accomplish yet another post plant. And Pyro just almost catches that Waylay on the dash. A 1v1. And Paint with time to spare to go for the defuse. That really came down to the last few seconds. And after the timeout, SRB barely got that.
Barely. That just goes to show how Nonverbal is still a contender here. I was about to say, this is not only extremely beatable for Nonverbal, but the way they played that was beautiful, right? Still similar setups here. Yeah, we had a lot more mid presence out of SRB. BCJ was down towards street. You had Pancakes down out alley. Like, there's a lot that was happening, but regardless, they just pushed past it. Nonverbal really forced SRB into a tight corner. Now, this came off the back of Paint this time, winning out in the 1v1. I did get a flashback to Aspas on the Waylay there, but they managed to get the defuse here, bringing us 9-9. That's the important
Desk
part.
is going to want to talk about Paint later on, but I'm looking to see what Pyro can do. The dimensional drift, the fake, the teleport back.
I'm back.
Some info gained, but Pyro's not the type of Yoru who's going to jump out of his own dimensional drift behind the enemy team and just cause a ruckus with the Bucky, or at least wasn't in the situation to do so. Another A hit for Nonverbal. It's a post plant that they've usually been successful on. It did take a heroic effort out of Paint to make that possible, and he could do it yet again. It's the Nightfall from the backside. SRB playing off that advantage, but still respecting that, just creeping across. Nonverbal playing out of sight, out of mind, but who could pinch them too on the other side is Pancakes coming in from behind. A lot of different angles this time from SRB, not flooding through the same side, and they've just neutralized every attacker from Nonverbal as the defuse will go through, and Tim will get his one or two.
Oh, two. Okay, gets a little bit more value out of it. Really good for Nonverbal, but just great usage of the converging path. That is the Waylay ultimate for those out there, and really solid stuff out of SRB, but they did expend a lot in terms of that ultimate counter. We do look at Nonverbal. They still have 2 ultimates, but they don't have an economy because they've lost 2 in a row. And this late into the game, you have to get preemptive about it. So this timeout is huge for Nonverbal to hopefully get a potential. It's by statistics, it's 11-9, but by reality, I mean, with how Nonverbal's played, I do kind of want to give them some credit where on this map, you can kind of rush a little faster, maybe catch Shopify Rebellion off guard. You already see Kumi picking up a stinger potentially, as well as having those ultimates. You know, you have a round go awry and somehow it gets to 10-10.
Yeah, Paint has been definitely insane from the last clutch on the last round to bringing out the ult, and at least statistically now can be like the best Waylay in Challengers until we see otherwise, right? You can hold that title, that accolade proud, but still makes me wonder if Nonverbal can, you know, like you said, do something special with the low economy that they have. They could still have a chance to upset the best team. I mean, Winthrop had their armor dented by Prosperity Esports, a team from Premier, and that's one of the big 3, speaking of Winthrop. So SRB are definitely a winnable team, or a beatable team.
And do have Sheriffs and Stingers. And they're going for another mid play here. Nonverbal's bread and butter. This time, though, Pancakes is ready.
Jeez, and you had the util that caught SRB jumping out, and Nonverbal is just going to decide to leave that after throwing up the neon walls. They were thinking about it, but decide to keep the space between the two.
So much util expended on the SRB side. I mean, if you look at Pancakes and BCJ, they've really had to use so much of it. Now using the final flash.
Wait, Nonverbal are just stacked together, so even if there's one rifle swinging you, you just got 5 shares looking at you. I guess 1 stinger too. Don't forget about that. But
Death ball.
SRB just can't 1v5 this. They're goated, but I don't know about that goated.
Need to isolate. I agree. Some sort of utility to disrupt them.
You want to find it?
See if they can. Cosmic Divide. It's Nonverbal hoping to cut off some of these angles, and then you forgot about one troublemaker. It's Spaz within the site, and wrapping around could be this Yoru. Pyro needs to shut up this Spaz guy, or it's just this whole round's gonna be cooked, and it's not gonna happen. Spaz is just built differently.
talk about disrupt the fade utility immediately kind of catches them off guard. You catch them out of position, and there that is. The 11th round picked up for SRB. Now, non-verbal, they did take a timeout, and like I said, they're most likely going to talk about the 21st round, this round coming into it. I wonder what they're going to use. Corrupt has... Oh, wait, they used the overdrive off of Kumi as well, so it's a couple things expended here. Corrupt now has their ultimate, so there's a chance for them to use that, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they get that spike down and Corrupt's still alive. They go for it, but right now it's just a default, right? They're just trying to control the space and really leaning heavy into this mid play that they have been so known for, and that's been so successful for non-verbal.
Ever since SRB went on their first timeout, they've been on a 3-round win streak. So SRB are not only just a good team because of their mechanics, but how they're able to adapt and create new ideas on the fly. And of course, they've been part of that. You got Paint that could catch non-verbal on their road to A.
Oh, it still has the dash.
Okay, well, the recon didn't get anything, so Paint still locks onto the neon, and Monty has his back so that Paint could escape. Now that's teamwork.
That dash was proven crucial, and now non-verbal backs up against a wall. We're going to need to see these players go huge. Honestly, I would say Tim has some control in mid, so potentially for them.
30 seconds
but
left.
It's hard to say with 30 seconds on the board.
Tim walled off right now?
I think they're just saving at this point.
Okay, I was like, wait, like they look like they were heading
I think that's
safe, but never mind.
Nah, that's blast swall.
That's, okay, I was like, wait,
yeah,
he was like
was
not
gonna
pushing
say,
past it.
no, I was gonna say there's only one vice, and it's on non-verbal side.
Yeah, okay, got it. Okay, well, save. I thought, 3v5. Okay, we did say that,
get your
getting
money
to
up,
the
not
end of
your
the
funny
game. Yeah, at the end of the game, it was going to be about the economy, and non-verbal going to sacrifice that round to try and pull off a flawless streak to the end.
I mean, at this point, non-verbal, they've explored mid a lot. They've had a lot of success there. But now we see the counter for SRB. They're very good about controlling not only the perimeter, but also having a good call to like how to counter the mid play by having the Sentinel and the Initiator start there as well. Like, look at this. They have 4 players starting towards mid, and then they allow Paints to take control of the extremities while retaking towards A. The setup is beautiful out of SRB.
Oh, it's going to be caught by a flash just in time. Oh, SRB just had the setup for mid. They're just always ready to crunch down on non-verbal, who look down at match point against SRB. Down their duelist. At least they still have one in their back pocket, but no ults, and at least they got, well, at least Hunter's Fury, but we'll see how they want to set up Corrupt to maybe drown out the people from A.
This split towards A, though, is still doable out of non-verbal. They're going to wait for the TP out here, and now have art control. It's a matter of flushing out the rest of these players.
Oh, and they actually got a ping on Monty. And almost hitting their own players there. All good. The plant goes through, and they're going to try and creep past it. Still get the plant with the lockdown ensuing from Pancakes. And now SRB take immediate control with the Cosmic Divide. They won't hear him defusing. Corrupt is going to check, deny it from getting halfway. But SRB are still going to try and even almost stick it. Okay, BCJ knows non-verbal are on the other side. About to run into them. Also some delay from non-verbal. Yuto left on the spike. Probably why SRB had to not stick it. A good clutch from non-verbal, which is the 1 player left.
I was gonna say great Astro Wall, nice timings on the utility. Catching BCJ off guard is huge there. They're managing a lot of their utility really well. And I think that those post plants towards A have really been a strong suit for non-verbal. I won't be surprised if they go for some similar stuff towards the B site with their utility. But the big thing is they don't have ultimates to play off it. A lot of these moments were picked up by some crucial ults like the Hunter's Fury, like the Cosmic Divide. And if you look at non-verbal, Blast is the only one close to their ultimate right now. Now that is a very crucial ultimate, but I wonder if it's going to come online and be a factor here. I hope it will be. Looking where Blast is playing, it can potentially play sedentary here, catch a pick, get their ultimate. That's a big headcanon little theory, but I doubt that that's going to be the thing that happens and saves NV or non-verbal.
Yeah, just for non-verbal to pull off that last round, being down, Kumi, it's crazy. Now they have Kumi in a position, trying to do something about this off, and it's a huge shutdown. Pain is gone, and non-verbal are not going to accelerate, not pick up the pace. They know SRB have loved to stack this B site, and meanwhile, Corrupt will be lurking over on the right side, making sure there's no crazy flanks. But the real focus is non-verbal and how they're going to deal with BCJ. Is he going to want to pop flash, throw a knife, set up pancakes for a swing? It's the initial flash. No one home. Non-verbal notices KO around the corner.
That ultimate, Steel Garden. Really going to help them, right?
30 seconds left.
The timings. Oh, the positioning.
BCJ is going to keep his weapon. He hit the corner. But now he can't immediately swing because of the KJU tilt. But this delay could actually favor them. And if anything, Pancakes doesn't need no help. Now he does, though. It's up to BCJ, who's gone unnoticed. These last 10 seconds to prevent the plan to give SRB the map win. It's a 2 versus 2. A little bit of safety for Tim. BCJ has to go through the checks and balances. Gets clipped on his way. With Tim having the Cosmic Divide and gonna use it to seal up the back of the site. The Spaz catches the walk up from Tim. It's just Corrupt on the post plan and gets caught weaving through the wall. And it's SRB with the defuse and the map 1 win.
But 10-13 is still such a close scoreline. Not to mention the fact that Tim, that's a really fast ult rotation. Like, that's a really good ult to have in that moment. Sorry. The fact that they had that, the fact that there was a lot of pieces for that puzzle really proves that non-verbal is a force to be reckoned with. But Shopify Rebellion are going to take the first dub here and assert some dominance, not only on the server, but in the scoreline that they are a team. They are the team. They are the team going into Split 2. They are the #1 seed and they're here for a reason.
Still that was a close scoreline, though. I think non-verbal have a lot of resilience to be down 1-6, and still a statement to make coming out of the promo relegation to earn respect and to go that close to the #1 team. I think that this series is going to have a lot of fun in store, but I want to go check in with the desk, so we'll see you on the other side.
มันพูดกันไว้